What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's athlete live stream. I'm really excited about today's event, today's live stream. I've got an athlete who has been one of my closest friends the last couple of years. So awesome to hang out with. He is a Crystal Globe winner and the current Olympic champion in the two-man bobsled. Let's give it up for Alex Kopacz. What's up, Alex? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. It's good to see you again, Jason.
You too, man. It's been a while with this, all these restrictions on travel. I don't think since Singapore a handful of years ago, I don't think we've gone this long without hanging out.
That's right. Every time there, it seemed like every couple of weeks to months we'd see each other.
Real quick, for everybody who's watching live, we want your questions. Alex wants to answer your questions. We'll get to as many questions as we can. And that's the beauty of doing this live. Kate, how you doing? She says hi from Melbourne.
Hey, Kate.
It's got to be pretty late or early there. But hey, Kate, thanks for joining us live. We really appreciate it. But yeah, so that's the format. We really want to get anybody watching live involved. We want to know where you're watching from. If you guys just want to say hi to Alex, give him some love, be much appreciated. So while we wait for some people to get on here, I got to ask you, Alex, what was it like what is it like being an Olympic champion? And what was it like when it finally sunk in?
I'd say now, so many years past, it's still a really great honor. And one of the things that I enjoy the most, even in spite of the pandemic, is trying to constantly keep in touch with a lot of people that were inspired with what I did. So there's still some schools that reach out here and there to do like a mini lecture, whether it's a grade school or a high school. And I'm still super proud to kind of represent what a champion is on a daily basis. I had a couple things pop up in the last while that kind of sucked me right back into those moments. I watched a couple of the races this year from the bobsled season. Super strange season because of just how the COVID restrictions were, but it kind of just brought it all back in. The world champions this year were in Altenburg, and I'm proud to say that my record is still standing after, let me think, they had 2 world championships in Altenburg back to back, and they still can't crack it. Next year's the Olympic year. So, if I get one full Olympic cycle out of it, that's great. I can still, walk proud.
That's awesome.
But it kind of brought those moments back really intensely. And I think as I watched the World Championships, I had a couple of dreams that pulled me right back into the Olympics again. And I found some old pictures, stuff that I hadn't seen before. I came across the photographer, that was an Olympic photographer who he actually lives in the city, which is, strange that we never crossed paths before. But just a lot of great memories. It's important, especially in these dark times, to think to those happier moments and that they will come again.
That's cool. Hey, we got a bunch of people hopping on now. Shelly, she says, hi, Alex. We met on a plane coming back from the USANA convention.
Shelly, we were sitting very close to each other.
That's awesome. Nancy, how's it going? Chase, what's up, buddy? He says, what's up, boys? We got a lot of Canadians on here. Mandy says hi.
Hey, Mandy.
Kate, I guess 10 a.m.'s not too early, but super excited to have you. We've got Peggy from Baltimore. I don't know how to say this name. I apologize. Virel from Montreal. Sorry, I think it's French. Anyways, really appreciate it. We even got somebody from the Philippines. Awesome. If you guys are just joining us live, let us know where you're from. And if you have any questions for Alex, don't be shy. We want to, that's why we do this live segment, because it's really cool to get involvement from you guys and hear, the questions that you guys have. So while we're waiting for a question, I'll give you another one. Why do you trust USANA?
I think the easiest thing to trust is the guarantee that they have with regards to their supplements. And then what doubled it down for me was when I was invited to go check out the facilities and watch the production. And with all the different checks that they have from getting the raw material to the final product, it seems to me like almost an impossibility for it to be contaminated. I really think the only way it can happen is if someone was to intercept the package in the mail and deliberately sabotage it, because otherwise it's a beautiful, beautiful process.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to say the first time I went through a tour, it had been a while. I'd worked at USANA for a while. And when I took that first tour, I was like, okay, this is something that every athlete needs to see. I mean, we've had big clubs in the English Premier League come over. We've got an awesome partnership with Wolfsburg. Those guys came over. Yeah, those guys came over and did a tour. And you know, I feel like when they actually get to see it and see the process and understand what we go through in that process, it really eases their minds. Because I think the biggest thing for you as an athlete, you know, when you're in the 2-man bobsled, so you're part of a team. So if you or your partner Justin failed the drug test, you both would lose your medal.
Yep. And then all of our results get scrubbed out from the whole season.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an easy choice to decide to not be a clean athlete. That's for sure. You have to be willing to burn a lot of bridges.
So Dance to Live Studio actually just asked the same question. What's your favorite USANA product? And they probably asked it right before.
You were about to ask it.
Yes. So let's hear it. What's your favorite USANA product, Alex?
I mean, if you could bottle up dancing so that you could live, I would choose that one. But currently, with some of the fresh stuff that's come out, the stress relief. So I got it with me here. I had quite a day of back-to-back calls, followed by a little calm response. You know, if anyone's had to deal with their parents over COVID, this one is very handy. And I think the most important one, because I've been trapped indoors quite a lot, like I'm sure most people are, vitamin D. That can't be encouraged enough. That's something that everybody should be trying to take lots of, especially if you don't see the sunshine too often.
Yeah.
Keeps the mental health on the level.
Like you Canadians, especially in the winter, right?
That's right.
Peggy wants to know, how long have you been taking USANA and what's a specific difference it's made for you? Great question, Peggy.
Absolutely. So I think since 2016, I think is when I officially started with you guys. And I'd say since then, the biggest thing for me, it's not so simple to say, you know, I started taking the vitamins and I was just supercharged, because you're already at such a high level. But the one thing it did is just took away that one to-do list off my head immediately. And then when I started to see other gains, it was in some of the anti-inflammatory options, like the Procosa. And then just having access to lots of omega-3s. I mean, those are just super combinations. But not having to count out my pills. You should see sometimes the athletes, like their breakfast, they got these handfuls of stuff and they're trying to jam down and just got a little cute little baggie, just zip, and then ready to go. So I'd say for sure a lot of the anti-inflam stuff for joint, tendon health, and then the peace of mind of having good quality stuff.
Nice. So how long have you been with USANA?
Yeah, I'd say now, I mean, we're coming on 6 years, I think. No, 5 at least, because it was prior to. Yeah. It's about 5, at least 5.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been a lovely, lovely relationship.
One thing that people watching live might not know is USANA has a really awesome foundation. And was it about a year and a half ago, Alex and I were able to, and I just posted one of my pictures on Instagram. But
and that kid,
yeah,
awesome shot.
It was an unbelievable experience to go over to Thailand. Do you want to talk a little bit about you know, what that trip meant to you. And
I so when I was a kid, let's just call it, I mean, early undergrad, might have been end of high school, but I got to go to a volunteer trip in Guatemala where we helped a lot of people that didn't have access to hospitals. So we set up these little medical clinics. And that was the first time that I realized that doing something outside of my comfort zone that made me, well, I mean, I was hungry because it's just like you're just working nonstop. I was
yeah,
uncomfortable, sweaty, but it's just all of that just was gone because the only thing I was focused on was the people in front of me. And I did my best to try and make them smile because I knew that, you know, you come and go. These are like Band-Aids. You know, you try to be as real with these people as possible and get some kind of a connection because it might be just enough to get them through the next little while. And then over the years, getting to know Brian was awesome because seeing this thing that he's created and USANA supported to help drive it through. It's the lasting part of the solution is what I found just incredible because if you do go and you hand out food, that's a today. You know,
yeah,
if you go and you put in some money, some of those people may never even see the benefits of that money.
yep,
But if you go and if you set up an infrastructure that can be self-supported by the local people there, then it's a little bit more forgiving to say that we're not just tourists seeing poverty-stricken places. We've done a little bit to show that, hey, yes, we're here building our own character by literally our own physical labor. And then at the same time, that money's gone in to help do something that's sustainable for long term. So it was really cool to be part of such an awesome win-win.
and for me, like I talked about in the post on Instagram, and I hadn't really thought about it much, but when I just came across that picture, and since we were chatting today, it just got me thinking about that trip more. And you know, it really was pretty amazing that we didn't speak the language with these kids. You know, when we went to the little neighborhood. I mean, that the places that these people lived in was just, it was like a shed, really.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest.
It's staggering the differences in our comfort versus their discomfort.
Yeah.
I mean, even for us, what's uncomfortable for them would be a luxury.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I think, an important point to remember. And that's why I love going on these trips, because I always come home and it helps me to like level out and say, hey, I've got it really, really good.
Absolutely.
You know, and takes away that want, you know, where you're always just like, I want. But it was awesome, like playing soccer with those kids. And
I'm actually just trying to pull up that one picture. I mean, we didn't speak the language, but they sure knew what it felt like to get schooled by me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we had a great time playing soccer. And you know what's funny about something like sport? It's literally the one thing that's a universal language in and of itself.
Yeah.
No one had to explain the rules. We just got to the game.
Yep.
You know, we split up the field and we tried to, you know, everyone's passing amongst each other, having fun, laughing, you know, especially when the kids were able to kind of, I mean, it's a little bit too heavy to be running up and down that field. So when they started kicking my butt, they were having a good time, and it was just great building them up.
Yeah, I should have pulled up some pictures, but I got a great picture of Alex holding his arms up like this with kids just dangling from his biceps.
Here's one of my stellar moments where I
there. Yeah.
Oh man, I made that kid regret he showed up that day.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, that kid stole the ball from Alex and then scored a goal quickly after. Nice. And it was pretty cool building that frog farm and just spending that time way out. I mean, we were out in the middle of nowhere, being able to, what do? We built a frog farm, which is something that UI and Jim Brown, the president of USANA, worked on with a couple other people. And then another group built a mushroom hut.
And then I think it was a fish.
Yep. For like catfish and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it goes back to what you said. It was really cool to not just hand somebody money and say, "Oh, hey, I hope this helps you out," but like this was long-term sustainability, which was really cool. So, it looks like my son Beck is on. He's saying, "You're cool." And he says, "Hi, Alex." We got Steve from the Philippines. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for joining us. I know it is super late there. The time difference is pretty drastic right now. So appreciate you jumping on. But again, if you guys have some questions, throw them out in the comments. We've still got about 15 minutes, but
something I wanted to kind of just reach out to whoever's following right now is to check in. What are you guys doing during the pandemic to keep yourselves sane? Are you guys still finding ways to move? I know Jason, he's got his pretty sweet home gym, but he sent me a video describing how he likes to think about doing his workouts and then think some more and then try again the next day. And I got myself a sweet little squat rack set up, and all it really is just 2 posts that stand and just hold the bar. And just with that and a couple of plates, you can get quite a lot done. I mean, especially for my big body. So I guess I just want to make sure that everybody has strategies on how to move and keep moving. And if not, to please reach out to any of the athletes. I mean, if it's not me, there's going to be somebody that you guys will be able to vibe with to get some good ideas, because nothing's more important than trying to keep our bodies moving, especially in these home office lifestyles.
So you guys heard it. Alex doesn't mind if you DM him. And if you look just under his video feed, it has his name and his Instagram handle. So go follow him on Instagram. Questions. Throw him some questions. Amy's her necklace says, "What's up, Alex?"
Hey, Amy.
Nanette, she says, "Hi, Jason and Alex." What's up, Nanette? How are you? So what's been one of your fondest memories with USANA? I'm putting you in the spotlight.
I could never talk enough about getting to know the personnel, the people that are behind the scenes of running this company. I mean, yeah, Jason, you and I are friends, right? Okay, everybody gets it. We're pretty cool. But people like Amy, I mean, there's so many awesome people out there that when you actually get a chance to get to know them on a personal level, the help that they can provide is unbelievable. I mean, for some of my talks, I had help with some of the writing. Mark was great for that. Yeah. Brian's been great for some leadership tips. Jim helped me with prep for a job where I was working as a director of engineering. There were just so many doors that it opened and helped me grow as a human being. And so I'd say that just being affiliated with you guys, I grew a lot as a man, and it was definitely memories that I'll never forget.
That's cool. I'm glad to hear that. Peggy says, yes, great people in USANA. Robin, she's talking about the question that you asked. Mm-hmm. She said she goes out for walks and goes and clearing off the pond for hockey.
Oh, nice.
Yes, she obviously is Canadian. So, and Shelly says that she likes working out in the garage as well and walking in the forest in Nova Scotia. So it sounds like we've got a lot of Canadians on here. I don't know why. I don't know why we'd have more Canadians than usual, but welcome. We're glad to have you. So let's dive into a little bit, because I know one thing that's super helpful for everybody, and anybody can relate to, is mental strength, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there was a time where, early in your career, and we've talked a little bit about it. We've talked quite a bit about it. We don't need to go into the details on this show, but I know that you had a lot of speed bumps, and, you moved out to another country. You didn't speak the language. Look, I'm not going to tell the story. You tell the story, but I know that you had some speed bumps. So we'll talk about the speed bumps, but then I also want to talk about why you didn't give up.
Yeah, so so just to kind of just carry on with those speed bumps there, learning a language, trial by fire is quite an exciting experience. And I think the only thing that kept me going through something as simple as trying to learn the language in a new place is um, being so focused on this bigger goal. Now, I can't say that my entire life has been, set up with these beautiful large goals so I can just forget about the small everyday stuff. But something like sport really made it obvious where, like in bobsled, you're trying to get to the Olympics. Every season counts, but the Olympics is the big goal. So once I was there, I had the right coach. I found the right coach kind of by accident. You then kind of have to quickly figure out how to navigate, right? So that's like there's just so many things you don't think about where you live until you're thrown somewhere new and you're on your own. And you've got to figure out your own transportation, how you're going to live, and all that stuff. So once you get past the sign language, and then you start using the words, and then you start kind of
Yeah.
getting over the discomfort of making mistakes. Um, you then start to realize how much you've learned through osmosis because you're not just hyper focused on just learning the language. You have other tasks you're trying to do. So it's like you compartmentalize some of the major stressors by saying, "Yep, I'll get to there when I get there. I'm going to now focus on like I was there for school as well." So even doing some of the technical stuff that I was doing as an undergrad in physics was challenging because it was thank God there were equations, so I could at least go backwards and check on YouTube and see what was it in English.
Yeah.
But um, I always found that I was so hyper focused on achieving the bigger goal that nothing was going to stop me in the small day to day situations. Now, that all worked out for sport. Now, what happens after sport? So I think a really cool thing to realize is that, I mean, goodness, a lot of people see me as probably one of the most successful people that they've ever had the pleasure of knowing. I've seen people that I think are even more successful than I am, and yet COVID came and I was laid pretty low as far as like mental game, financial game, career game. And even though a person can have so much success in their back pocket, sometimes those experiences seem super far away. And the only thing that I learned about myself, especially in the last year, is that I need to create that challenge again. I need to create that bigger goal. And that's when I kind of light that fire all over again. So the biggest thing I can try to encourage other people is try to make a goal that seems too big, a goal that might be too big to get done today, to get done next week, a month from now, or a year from now. And that might give a lot of really cool kind of impetus to get some of the day-to-day stuff done and out of the way. Because when you don't have a goal for sport, staying on top of your nutrition becomes almost meaningless. What's the point?
Yeah.
If you don't have a goal for a project or a career aspiration or financial target, the everyday hustle becomes kind of like a drag and a waste of your time. So where I found I learned to love things is when I learned to love the thing that I was chasing after. If I could believe it, if I could see it, that gives me enough of that every day to wake up and just get excited to chip away at that goal every single day.
So early in your career, um, look, I know you didn't grow up wanting to be a bobsledder,
Mhm.
and you didn't get into bobsledding till later into your career.
Right.
But I mean, right away, did you feel like, okay, I've got what it takes to be an Olympic champion, or was it something that you had to work on, build the confidence?
Yeah, so I guess the double-edged sword with the way that I was kind of, I don't know, maybe the mentality I was born with. I never see myself as good enough, and so my biggest competition is myself, generally, almost in every category. So I
Yeah,
do see other people that are better than me, but I don't begrudge them for being better than me. I just get mad at myself for not being better, so I can best them,
yeah,
which is kind of a weird space to be in. So initially, when I showed up, when I knew that I belonged was when I saw like my results versus the other Olympians that were there.
yeah.
And that's when it hit me. We can do this. This is literally in our realm of possibilities. And that's when the dream really took hold. That imagine this first generation, you know, Polish family, their son becomes an Olympian. Like that seemed so amazing that I had to try. And I knew that I wouldn't get the opportunity twice because I jumped into the sport at 23.
Yeah.
And as I was kind of chipping away at that, the next thing that stuck in my head was, instead of being just the best on my team, I started wanting to be the best in the world as an athlete. I wanted to make a difference. Every time someone saw me on the block, they were going to be like, this is going to be fast. And no matter which pilot I was with or where or how,
Yeah.
it was going to be fast. We want him because he is the best. And the last thing I thought is that I would actually have the opportunity to line myself up for an opportunity to be the Olympic champion. I mean, even going into the Olympics, uh, it was just business as usual as far as like, here's our performance goals or targets. Let's just see what comes together. And one
Yeah.
thing that I always was fond of, a lot of people in the sport, everyone's always hung up on, okay, so what do you want to go for as far as a start time? What's your goal? Well, the only response I really have is, if I think it's doable, I would like a start record. If it's something that's a little bit more intangible, I just say, I'm going to do the best I can today, because it takes away the pressure of, I need to deliver on something that I promised somebody.
Yeah.
And it opened up the opportunity for me to do something even better than I thought I could do. Because sometimes if I set a bar, I might only achieve to the bar.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I needed to kind of play these different mind games where I had a lot of inner motivation to push myself past what I thought I could do. And then whatever came, I was either happy or upset. And sometimes, even though the result was incredible, I would still be upset knowing it could have been even better, because I'd made 3, 4, 5 mistakes that only I noticed, no one else did.
Yeah.
And then you start chipping away at those little things, because then you see that it's not even about what the record is. It's not even about the medals you could win. It's like, how much better can I make myself? Because you see how much reserve you have.
Yeah. Nice. That's a great way to put it. So we've only got a few minutes. So if anybody watching live right now has any questions, throw them out, or forever hold your peace. Marta, hi, how are you doing? But yeah, so while we wait, give people a couple more minutes if they want to ask some questions. One of the last ones I'd like to ask you is there something that you do every day that you feel like helps you be a better person? Whether it's meditation, yoga, whatever it is. Is there something that you try to do every day that you feel makes you a better person?
So besides just like taking my dog for a walk, which is like an obligation, during those walks, number one, I never set a time limit on how long the walk is, unless I literally have a pressing engagement the moment after. So some nights I'll take her for her last walk, and I'll start at 10 and I'll come back around 12 o'clock or 1 a.m. I just let my feet take me. And while I'm doing that, I'll listen to books. In the last year, I've gone through, I think, almost 12 different books, half of which were philosophy. And then the remainder, I think there was 2 just out of like interest, 3 that were more like career oriented with regards to leadership things. A great book, Tools of Titans. That's an awesome book by Tim Ferriss. And so that's something that I really enjoyed, because I had a moment to really stop, think about what the book was saying, and try to apply it the next day, and
Yep.
re-listen, didn't matter. But when you're walking, I find that I get some of my clearest thoughts in motion, instead of just sitting and listening to something or reading.
Yeah.
If I'm walking, I can really kind of get into more of it.
Yeah. I've never really been a radio or music guy. Like, I do like music, don't get me wrong. But when I used to commute to work a year ago, and before that, I would never listen to the radio. Like, I would drive in silence. It just gave me an opportunity to think. A lot of times I would daydream. I love just like thinking about what if,
Right.
whatever. And, but then I started getting into audiobooks. So now a lot of the time I listen to audiobooks, and my ratio, I do like fiction. I dig Stephen King and his stuff.
One of my favorites.
But the Dark Tower series, I mean, that's what really got me. But anyways, so I'll read probably about, or listen to, like 2 or 3 self-help books
Mhm.
things that I feel like will give me a different perspective,
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever it is. And then I'll go to a fiction to kind of have some entertainment there, and then go
Mhm.
back to working on myself. So yeah, I love audiobooks, man. Love them.
There's a lot you can do. I mean, there's a lot of wasted time sitting in a car in traffic. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's one of the worst things about our society. Yes, we have this beautiful technology and it's fantastic, but living in a busy city, like so much waste in just getting around. I mean, I have friends of mine that'll waste almost 24 hours a week in commuting alone. Like, what could you have done with that extra 24 hours seeing your family,
Yeah.
immediate family or otherwise? I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, anything you can do to kind of fill those gaps, that's kind of the way to do it.
Yeah. So Peggy has a question.
Mhm.
This is a great question. Do you see yourself on the USANA products for life, even after you stop competing?
Yeah, I do. I I see no reason why not to. Not only am I just comfortable to the rhythm of it, I mean, my body's of course used to it, but it's just products look great. It's easy to get your hands on. Any questions you need, that there's an immediate support staff, and they're constantly coming up with new stuff. I mean, like that stress relief and calm response are two great examples of there's constant innovation happening. Um, so yeah, I mean, unless I decided to stop supplements for good, there'd be no reason for me not to stick with USANA because it's not broken. I don't need to fix it.
Amy says, "Hi, Jason. Hi, Alex. What's up, Amy? How are you doing? Hope you're feeling all right." Um, Shelly says, exactly as Jim Rohn says, make your car a mobile classroom. Yeah, I've never heard that
Yeah,
before.
you know
Thanks
what?
for sharing that.
That's a great way to condense that. I like that very much. I'm going to keep that.
So we're just about out of time,
Mm.
but I do want to go and tell a little story about you, big tough guy Alex over here, who everybody's scared of and he intimidates. Um, we did a Spartan here in Utah about a year and a half ago. That wasn't too fun for you, was it?
God no. God no. That, I mean, just the elevation change alone. So okay, so there's a couple things to kind of lead into that. The the whole setup, I shot myself on the leg because I didn't even train for it. And me being a short distance guy, that's probably what I should have done. Next thing being, I came from essentially sea level, and to Utah being, I don't know, I can't remember what it is, 4,000 feet,
Well, I mean,
5,000.
my house, and I'm not even in the
Yeah,
mountains. I'm at
yeah,
over 4,700 feet.
right.
We were probably competing between 6 and 8ish
Yeah, because the
because we were
top of
going
that
up and
was a
down.
2,000 elevation change at
Yeah.
least, right? So just right there, I was starving for air. It was terrible. And then I remember on the way up, it's like, yeah, we got this, and then I was pacing with Jason's brother, and then I get to the top, and then you realize like you're not even halfway. And then the rest of it on the way down, it was just like pain, pain, more pain. My muscles are sore, like cramping. Both my calves were cramping. Like it was just like every step was like, "Bah, bah, bah." And then meanwhile, people running by like, "Hey, Alex, you enjoy this part?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the best."
And
But after I recovered from all that, all the the micro injuries and the trauma to my heart, I got to say that having little blips of suffering are really important. I
yeah,
think it's the best thing that the Spartan can offer is you have a community of people that are ready to suffer together. I mean,
yeah,
here I am complaining up the mountain, and literally a guy with no legs
yeah,
is like making his way up, and he's going to do the whole race.
yeah,
And like, if that doesn't make you wake up and go like, hey, at least your legs are there. They hurt, but they're there. This guy is going through this. Like, it was unbelievable the drive this guy had to finish the race, and he was doing it for him. It wasn't even about like him versus the clock. It was
yeah,
him to complete the race, and that is probably the most inspiring thing to pull away from anything that we talked about today. Is if you're doing it for yourself, yes, that's such a cliche thing, but a lot of people get inspired by your sheer will and your focus because you're committed to something you want. it's easy to follow that. It's easy to get excited and energized by it. Now, if you're doing it for somebody else, it's not the same kind of like
Yep.
sparks that are around you. So when this guy is coming up and he's still going, he doesn't want any help, he's just doing his thing. All of a sudden, it's just like, it was just kind of intoxicating just to keep going and not stop. And but I will say the one part that I enjoyed was the heavy tire flip.
So to
me was a break. I got a chance to catch my breath.
I was going to get to that story. So I'm down at the bottom trying to move this huge, probably 400-pound tire, I think is what they said.
They were big. Yeah.
And not being able to get it up. Here comes Alex, deflated, limping, annoyed, yep. Comes over, looks at the tire and just like, whoop, pops it, almost like throws it because he's so mad. Like, screw you guys. And that was funny. And the other part that was hilarious to me is I saw your back was all dirty and there was holes in your shirt. And I asked you, I was like, dude, how is your back? How is your back so dirty? And how did you rip your shirt? And what had happened is there's this little tunnel that everybody had to go through, and Alex could barely fit in it because he's such a big guy. He just laid on his back and pushed with his legs and slid all the way out. So he like
shimmy with my shoulders.
He cleaned it out for everybody else, which was nice. I wish I would have gone behind you.
It was hurting my knees trying to be on my elbows and knees, and then so I just went just rolled over and I just started doing the shimmy.
That's funny, man.
You know, there's always a solution to a problem. That's the other thing people should take away from this.
There you go. All right, well that's it for today. Alex, super grateful for you jumping on. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. We really appreciate it. All the people who hopped on, you know, I'm sure they appreciate it. And for anybody watching this, send Alex your love. Send him some messages in the chat down there. And let's support Alex. Go follow him on Instagram. And really appreciate everybody jumping on and watching live with us and supporting us. So thanks, Alex. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you in a couple weeks.